and he says something that distracted me, because he said, if there's even a 1% chance my wife thinks that's true, that's terrible. I'm a flawed human being, but there's literally zero chance that my wife would think that was true. So what kind of marriage to what kind of man does your wife think there's only a 99% chance you didn't do that?
Jim Comey is a very good man. He's a very good marriage. He used his interview with George Stephanopoulos to remind the rest of us of that and to weigh in on the health of the president's marriage, because, of course, that's what principled, neutral law enforcement officers are sworn to do. Dan Bongino is an NRA TV contributor, a former Secret Service agent, and he joins us tonight. Dan, the former FBI director, went on to comment on the size of the president's hands, which he checked when he worked for him. You've been in law enforcement a long time. Are these kind of categories that you'd say most FBI agents assess before beginning a job? The health of the boss's marriage, the size of his hands, things like that?
Yeah. Yeah, his tan lines. Tucker commented on the tan lines around his eyes. That's fascinating. Donald Trump's tan. Tucker, we're talking about the director of the most powerful law enforcement agency possibly in the history of the planet that has the power to take your freedom and take your life. Decisions that can change the world are made every day, and he's commenting on President Trump's tan lines, the size of his hands, and the quality of a marriage he knows nothing about. This guy has entirely beclowned himself, and he is the Kaiser Sose of this movie right now. He plays off as this big innocent white knight. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, he was the guy single-handedly responsible for some of the worst debacles in FBI history in regards to this Obamagate fiasco.
Well, that's I guess the other thing. I mean, I try to be honest. There are a lot of, it's hard because it's such a partisan moment, but you want to be as honest as you can. And I've said a bunch of times on the show, I think you agree. I think this guy really hurt Hillary Clinton's campaign. I'm happy with the outcome, but I think that he behaved in a flaky, bizarre, irresponsible way with Hillary. Where are all the Hillary people, the honest Democrats, to point that out in this moment?
Tucker, politics has clouded this entire conversation. I think that's crystal clear. The case against Jim Comey is a clear one. What you said is entirely accurate. Let me just remind people what happened with Jim Comey. These are his own words. They're still on YouTube for you all to see. When Jim Comey was brought up to the Hill and was questioned about the quarterly briefings he was supposed to give Congress as per practice and protocol about sensitive CI investigations. Gee, you think maybe spying on Trump was sensitive? And when he was asked why he didn't notify Congress for almost a year, these were quarterly briefings, meaning for the liberals every 3 months, he said, well, we didn't notify you because of the sensitivity of the matter. Tucker, that's the whole point of congressional oversight and a system of checks and balances, that he thought he was running a rogue agency, Jim Comey. The case against him is crystal clear.
I know. And it's what a shame to see it reduced to Trump attacks Comey, Comey attacks Trump. I mean, there are irreplaceable principles at stake here, not having nothing to do with Comey or Trump, but having to do with the ability of citizens to trust law enforcement.
Tucker, the President of the United States, at the time President-elect and a candidate, was spied on by his opposition political. That's not in question. The mechanics of how it happened, we can argue. Jim Comey was the FBI director when that happened, and the information they used to do it has been debunked by every single credible person that looked at it. Is that being lost in this whole story? I mean, it's embarrassing, isn't it?
Well, it's terrifying. And if you told me this 30 years ago, I'd say that, that can't happen. It wouldn't happen here, but it is happening. Dan, thank you for that. And thanks for reminding us of what's at stake.
Yes, sir.